Hello, everyone. I'm Ellie from Nourishment Redacted, and welcome to Lioness Lifestyle Live.
And I'm Cristie from Meeting Wellness. We're so excited to meet with you this evening. Thanks for stopping by.
Absolutely. And we want you to get your questions ready for our awesome guests. If you have any questions, please put a QQQ or a bunch of question marks so we can get you on the screen and get your question answered.
And if you're a regular here, you know that that's usually Hayley's part. And you guys, she just bought a new house. She's a little overwhelmed with the moving and all of that just happened. And so, Hayley, we love you. We miss you. We're sorry you're not here, but I'm sure you guys can understand. If you guys can hear that noise, my gardener just arrived. So I'm very sorry. It's about to get very loud. Hopefully, real quick, I can do the roar of the week before he comes right up to where I am. Oh, yeah, there he goes. So this is from Sandra. I have failed thyroid for 20 years on synthetic thyroid, but it would go up and down when I first started BBB&E. Last bloods after going lion diet, rheumatoid and osteo settled, thyroid perfect, cholesterol weirdly normal after a whole life on statins, which I'd stopped taking. CKD still cured and normal, liver not so good. So I'm just working on one thing instead of a myriad. The lion diet seems magical. So we talked a lot about thyroid last week. And so I really appreciate this comment, not only about thyroid, but about all those other health issues and how much better she's doing. So if you guys want to be shouted out next week, drop a comment after the show in any one of our channels and I'll hunt through them and choose one for next week's Roar of the Week.
Well, a comment like that makes me always so excited for the show every single week. So thank you for sharing that. And let's give a big welcome for our guest this evening, Adrian Gledhill. Hi, welcome to the show, Adrian.
Hi.
It's so nice to see you. Thank you so much for coming on. I would love to know, could you please tell our audience about yourself, your health journey, all the way up to finding the carnivore diet? We can't wait to get to know you.
Okay, I'm going to try not to cry. I already kind of want to cry. Thank you for having me and letting me tell this story. And I hope that if there's anybody else out there who's struggled like I have, that they can know that, like, we're not done. You got to keep trying. So I've been overweight since I was born. I've always been the fat kid. I have always been told I overate and I needed to exercise more than everybody else. When I was in elementary school, I was heavily bullied for being the biggest kid. And that went on almost through middle school. And so my whole life, I've had this complex that I'm the fat one and I'm less than everybody else. And I have something to prove. And there's something wrong with me and I'm not as good as other people. So it's always been in there. And so in high school, I joined every single sport. I was in like track and field and soccer and basketball and cross country skiing. And I wanted to be the captain of all of them. And I was in band and choir and drama and a choral ensemble and yearbook and you name it, I was in it. I don't know if some people have said that's like a coping mechanism to just keep going. Some people say that's me, like kind of prove other people or to myself that I'm not less than, or trying to find that thing to make me feel like I'm a real person and I'm good. And, so then when I went in high school, because I was so active, I finally wasn't super overweight, but I was still one of the bigger kids in our school. When I went to college, I just went 60 pounds first year. It was bad. And I came home from the summer of my first year of college, and that's when I went on a diet with my stepmom. We went on Atkins, and I lost weight for the first time. Went back to college, gained it all back. And then I would try to do different diets, like the beach diet. And I remember drinking like seltzer sodas, and they were so disgusting, and just whatever I had to try to lose that weight, and I couldn't. And that's when I had a dream that I was going to be on the show The Biggest Loser. And this dream was so vivid. It was crazy vivid. So I went and, I don't think super great things of myself at this time. I think still I'm overweight. I'm not as smart as everybody. I'm not as pretty as everybody. Nobody's ever going to marry me. I was really lonely. So why I would think that I would get picked for something out of hundreds of thousands of people, it just was in there. It was so vivid. So I went to the casting call and I sent in a video and I got picked. And at first we all were like, are we sure this isn't a hoax or something? And even getting on the airplane, I was worried, like, is this real or am I about to be axe murdered? And I got there and it was real. And I don't know if you guys ever watched the show, but mine was an episode or a season where there were one person from every state, and 14 stayed on and 36 went home. And whoever lost the most weight at home would come back on. They didn't even exit interview me. They thought, no way this girl is going to beat these 350-pound men. No way. And I beat them all. I beat everybody at home and everybody on the ranch. So then I got to go on the show and I lost more weight, but as soon as they could get the young blonde off, I was gone. There was only one episode after I left. Then as soon as I went home, I did not. There's lots I could tell you about the show too, and we can go into that later, but there was no exit plan. There was no go home and do this. There was no psychological help. It was just, okay, you're back in the world now. We'll see you at the finale in like 3 or 4 months. And I went home. I tried to stay strong, but I still was friends with normal college kids. And I went to the University of North Dakota, and the number one activity there is drinking. And I already started struggling the minute I left the ranch to not gain the weight back. And by the finale, I had gained weight. I think I'm probably I'm like the biggest loser of all the biggest losers because I couldn't even keep it together until the finale. After the finale, my body just went, and I had started at 227, and I don't know how long. It was very quickly. I was in the 260s. And I spent most of my 20s in the 260s. And then and I'm sure so many people can relate to this. You lose weight, you were so excited, you share it on social media. Maybe you become a health coach, you start selling products. I don't know, you're just really excited about this and you share it. And then the weight starts coming back on, and then you just feel shame, And I had done this on reality, national TV, and I just hid, and I just thought the worst, worse than the weight itself is the emotional weight of gaining that weight back and then feeling stuck. And I would continue to try the same things and they just weren't working anymore. Throughout this whole thing, I was running races. Throughout this whole thing, I was eating the lettuce and the kale and ordering the fat-free dressing and getting the almond milk and all the things, and it just wasn't working. So we struggled to get pregnant with number 1, and then I had no milk, and I was told I just didn't try hard enough. Number 2, she disappears, but I end up with preeclampsia, which they tell me is just a fluke. That just happens sometimes. And I got so big. I was 330 pounds when I stopped weighing myself, and my belly was past my knees, and I was so big and it hurt so bad to just exist. So once I gave birth, I was like, I have got to lose this weight. I can't do this anymore. And that's when I really started running and restricting. I was the mom pre-making the freezer meals for the crock pot in the freezer. I was measuring everything, Tupperware containers of my lettuce and chicken and salsa, because, we got to be fat-free, low carb, doing all this stuff. And I got to about 220, and then I started going back up again. I'm like, no, not again. And so I reached out to the fellow. I had seen some Biggest Losers had started losing their weight and they kept it off. And I asked them, what's the secret? And they said, bariatric surgery. I'm like, well, they're keeping it off. So this is different. And I must be broken. I mean, since I was born, I pretty much decided I must be broken, because that's what people were telling me, is that not that I was broken, but that there was something wrong with me. I was different. I was bad. I was, the fat one. And so I researched, and everything says this is going to keep your weight off the longest and it's the best. And I went and interviewed a surgeon and he's like, you're a great fit. And so I had gastric bypass. And craziest thing happened. I think that because I had gone from 330 to 220, I had already ruined my metabolism. So I get this surgery and the weight is still just barely coming off. And I'm running half marathons. I'm following the liquid diet. I am eating, I don't know if you know, but after surgery, they recommend between like 700 and 1,000 calories for some people based on your height and your weight and who your surgeon is. So I'm eating these little tiny, nothing, and I'm running half marathons and doing HIIT classes, and I'm losing like a pound every 2 months and struggling not to gain weight. And I'm going in and I'm like, I think there's something wrong. And they were like, nope, your blood work's normal. Totally normal blood work. Must be you. You must not be tracking. You must be binging on pizza or something. And you're just not telling us the truth. And that's so more self-blame. And then there was a divorce. And when you go into people's why they are overweight, like trauma, a lot of people have trauma, and that's a big source of trauma right there is the divorce, and then the post separation and the kids in the custody and the courts and all that. So after the divorce is when the hypoglycemia started, and we're talking, I'm just out of nowhere shaking and sweating and nearly passing out. So this is when I start my elimination. So I've been on kind of an elimination diet for like 10 years, trying to figure out what is causing this? What is causing this hypoglycemia? And the funny thing is, if you talk to a doctor, what they told me to do was to just eat. If I have to, every 5 minutes, just eat small amounts. I was given little sugar pills, little sugar thingies. And, this is what'll fix you if you just eat all the time. That way your blood sugar can't drop. And here's the sugar. Well, I tried the sugar. Immediately, I figured out that was bad advice because I would eat sugar and it would come up and I'd start feeling better and then I would dive again. So it would cost like a rebound and it was just like this roller coaster. So I quickly figured out no sugar, no grains, no fruit. I quickly figured that out. It's shocking though, as you're looking into things, you don't realize like milk has sugar in it, yogurt has sugar in it, everything has sugar in it. So I've been on this elimination trying to control my hypoglycemia for years. But even just receiving a text message from my ex-husband would make my blood sugar drop. Going to the grocery store with screaming kids, my blood sugar would drop. It was chronic. It was life debilitating. I didn't want to leave my home because it was too stressful to leave my home because my blood sugar could drop. It made it so that I couldn't really work out very well because in the middle of a workout at any given time, my blood sugar could drop. And when your blood sugar drops when you're in public, like you're stuck. It's scary and it's awful. And so that's been going on for years and years. I get remarried to this wonderful man and we go to have a baby and we make it 20 weeks and we've had all the genetic testing and everything. And every single pregnancy, I have gone organic and whole foods and I take all the chemicals out and I eat probably the best ever is when I'm pregnant, is when I'm just like so motivated to just have the most nutritious, beautiful diet you've ever seen. And we went in for the 20-week scan to find out what the gender was, and the baby had died. And I again was told, this just happens all the time. They told me it's rare, but it happens, and there's no explanation, and there's no answers we can give you because this just happens. And I just want to say I joined a group and it's happening a lot more. And that's very concerning to me. And it's not normal and it's not a fluke. We had the genetic testing done. And later on, I found out I have a slew of autoimmune conditions. So this wasn't a fluke. And they could have looked into things back then, but they didn't. So anyway, so we try to get pregnant and it takes a year, which I know I have compassion for. There are much longer journeys than a year. But a year still too, that's 12 very hardworking cycles of why are all my friends getting pregnant and I'm not? I'm doing all the right things. I know the timing. I know that we do use natural family planning. I'm not screwing this up. Like, there's only one way to do it. And so we get pregnant and I don't have any milk again. So then I cut almost everything. I find out artificial sweeteners aren't great, the seed oils. I didn't know about the seed oils. Like, this is all a progression, it just keeps going. You just progressively learn more. So I drop all those things. And my husband, he works on the road. He came home one weekend and we just threw caution to the wind because it took us a year to get pregnant with our other one. And then 2 weeks later, I found out I was pregnant. So cutting all that stuff really, really did wonders for me. So this baby, though, I really wanted that milk. And I was told, well, I just didn't snuggle my babies enough. I didn't do it natural enough. I broke something. So this one, I birthed at home. And for anybody out there who, like, the first through in the hospital, I'm not a weirdo. Home birth is so cool. Home birth is so wonderful. It was one of the most wonderful experiences of my life. So I have this home birth, still no milk. And we even, this time we stayed skin to skin for 6 weeks and we did all the things. I had all the supplements and no milk. And then also in this, at the end, I got the bad virus. And after the bad virus, I was never the same. So we're getting to it. I'm sorry. I'm almost to where I came in carnivore. So after I give birth to number 4, that's when I'm just not the same. My brain fog is terrible. I'm having terror. Like, literally, I'm sitting in my chair holding my babies because I'm afraid they're going to die. And people are telling me, that's postpartum, that's postpartum. No, I've had postpartum. This was terror, and it only came in at night. It was very strange. And if I started driving, I would get terror while I'm driving. There were like incredible intrusive thoughts. And then I even sometimes, like, I remember being, I probably shouldn't say the building, but there's a building around here. And I was in the building and all of a sudden I started seeing black figures around me and they'd kind of come up behind me and spook me. So, like, I would call that hallucinating. So I'm like really, really struggling here. And that's when my dad said, because my dad had gone no grains, no sugar with Vinny. He said, hey, these people with autoimmune conditions. Oh, because we figured out I didn't have any milk. So finally, I went to a different practitioner. I got out of standard medicine, went to a functional medicine. She ran a spit test and a few other things. And she was like, you are not doing well. You are not doing well. You need to get someone needs to move in with you and help you until you get better because your adrenals are dead. The highest level of dead, that's where your adrenals are. Your thyroid is being attacked. You have really high antibodies. You have long haulers. You have all these different things. All your hormones are low. Your inflammation is high. You need rest. You need help. You are not well. And that's when my dad said, you should try the carnivore diet. And it took a little bit because I was told we need to eat all veggies and a little bit of meat. And so I was like, what? Because it can't be the veggies. That's like no carbs. And once I cut them, I haven't had any blood sugar issues since. Not one. I mean, now we're going on almost a year and a half of no hypoglycemia. None. So even the veggies were causing me that dip. They were just, I don't know if they're somewhat inflammatory and then that disrupts your hormones. And so no more blood sugar issues. My skin is cleared up. I immediately started, feeling better and sleeping better, but then it kind of took a turn and came back. And that's when I started learning about chronic inflammatory response syndrome and found out that I'm not doing well because our house had a little bit of water damage. So I don't know where else to go from here, but my current challenge right now is, so I've been doing the carnivore diet for all this time. And since January 2023, and I started out at 202 pounds, and today I was 155, whatever that math is, 47 pounds. And I've kept it off. And I feel great. I feel like this is so sustainable because you get to be full. You don't have to practice moderation. You don't have to practice being hungry. You don't have to meditate yourself out of telling yourself you don't need nutrition. It's so great. You get to be full. Instead of running now, I walk. I still lift weights, but instead of HIIT classes, I'm just doing it at my own pace with an app I use. Everything's really gentle. It's also helped. Shortly after I started joining communities so that I had support, and this has just been so wonderful.
So I am so glad that I don't even know how I found you. I'm like, wait, huh? Like you popped up in my Facebook, like randomly. And then I was like, I'm going to send her a message. She's probably going to think I'm crazy. Kind of like when you were like, am I going to die when I get on this plane? Like she's going to think I'm nuts. But just because I kept seeing your posts and I was like, oh my gosh, we have to talk to her. And so, anyways, I'm just so glad that you maybe you thought I was crazy, but you responded so graciously. And
no, I was thinking, oh my gosh, how cool! Because I had seen Courtney and Luna on your channel, so I'd seen you guys before.
Okay,
and I
cool.
thought, me? Why would you
Yeah, you.
Yeah,
what an amazing story that you just told us. You have been
Mm-hmm.
through so much. I noticed that there was like a common thread that you felt like something was wrong with you. And I think that is so, like, it hurts me because I felt the same way. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I always felt like an alien, or I felt like I would never fit in. And then especially like when the weight started going up, like after high school for me personally, it was like, now I'm the fat friend, or I can't get my stuff together. And it's like I'm trying everything that I can. And then it's just more and more like of a burden upon people because it's like, well, I can't do all the fun stuff that everyone else wants to do. So I just want to like, I feel like I always say this, but biggest internet hug. Like, I'm so sorry that you went through that. I'd love to ask about when you were doing The Biggest Loser. Did you feel like that was going to be the answer to everything? Like, did you must have had because you were having dreams about it, and like thinking back now, like how do you think like what was the approach that they took, and then like compare it to now? I would love to like that comparison looking back.
So it was a very interesting revelation because I had lost the weight and I got all tan and they did my hair. I made the makeover. And so I had this realization that I'm the same exact person, but I get attention now. And there was like some brain working there. I wasn't quite there. There was no work being done mentally, but it did open my eyes to, hey, I'm the same as everybody else. I'm not less than. But where the real work was done is after I had my daughter. When you're pregnant and you breastfeed, you don't drink alcohol at all. And then when you go back and you have some afterwards, you have no tolerance. And it just brought me back to some childhood issues I had. I was raised by my grandma who suffered from alcoholism. And so when I saw that in myself, I don't even know where to go with this, except that it wasn't that bad, but it was bad enough that I just felt like this can't be around my kids. So I quit drinking and I went to a 12-step program. And that is where a ton of work was done, a ton of work of I am a creation of God. I am equal to other people. They are equal to me. And but truly believing it. And so that's where a lot of the work went. So now back to The Biggest Loser. So when I was at home, an at-home contestant, I was given a doctor, a nutritionist, and a psychologist. I was given a meal plan. They had done DEXA scans and everything on us, so they knew our body fat percentage and our muscle percentage, how much weight, how much energy. Our energy expenditure was perfect because they used 4 different physical exams to see what's inside of our body. And then they gave us an exact number, told me divide it 3 meals, 2 snacks. And it was like the standard American dieting where you got the perfect plate, and so when I was at home and then I was told to do a workout in the morning and a workout in the evening so that you rest in between and that worked like so slick in some ways. I still think that kills your metabolism, but when I went on the show, you think that they have this extravagant, amazing plan and so much help, but it's really like when the cameras are there, the trainers are there, and when the cameras are not there, you are on your own. And the number one complaint that people had was that they had no direction. And you know what that turns into? A weight loss competition with no direction turns into very, very disordered behavior. And so people had injury like crazy, bursitis, arthritis, everything all over. The mental, I mean, you talk to anybody on reality TV and 40 days is a long time because the game is 24 hours. If you're sleeping, people might be cohorting and talking and coming up with a plan. So if you're sleeping, you might be losing out. So, and the Biggest Loser went on for a long time. Like our season was 11 or 12 episodes, but each episode was several weeks of filming. So people were
Wow.
gone for months and months and months and months and months of this psychological game. I mean, there was a gal, Kai, that came out after the show and she was so negative, and I was like, can't you appreciate anything, girl? And no, now I totally get what she's saying. She was right. She was right. It's psychologically, it was very hard. You're away from your family, you're sequestered, you're not allowed to even watch the news. And then physically, people were walking and weightlifting all day long because if you weren't moving, someone else was, and you might lose your dream of finally being healthy, finally being normal. So I don't know if for anybody it was about the money. I think for just about everyone, it was about finally not being, the icky of society, the obese ones, it's finally not being that. So when I got there, there was not really any plan. They didn't have a psychologist. When I couldn't sleep and my legs were twitching, I wasn't allowed to talk to the doctor. They would send a message, but it was very delayed, and he had to be careful with what he said because the trainers were in charge. And so it's not what people think it is.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I have to say back then I was one of those, like I'm like pretty sure I watched your season because I was definitely a fan of the show, not really knowing, the behind the scenes, or that was before I knew anything about the proper human diet. I thought eat less, move more, all that stuff. So I mean, when I saw your picture that I think you posted on Facebook, I'm like, I recognize her, I remember watching it, and now I'm, sorry that I supported it with my time.
I did too, because it really did inspire people. It inspired people all over. So that's a positive. And the other thing, people are so negative about it, but the reality is all it is a quick version of what we're being told to do by our doctors. They're not doing anything different than what we're being told every day to this day. If you go to the doctor, they'll tell you move more, eat less. Exactly what they told us on The Biggest Loser. So they're not doing anything that isn't being widely spread today, to this day.
Right. Yeah. I don't know that I just saw something with Jillian talking about how the keto diet is, a joke and it's terrible, and
then she pushes Cheerios.
Right. So.
But the producers themselves, I mean, there were people, so before we were even on the show, they tested our hearts and stuff, and there were contestants throughout time that didn't have a strong enough heart, and they let them, like, because we had the at-home thing, they let them be part of our program, even though they couldn't be part of the show legally. So, I mean, I think that the intent behind the producers was really good. I just think after learning what I've learned, it's not healthy. And also, to put it out there that you could lose 30 pounds in a week when really that was filmed over 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and someone played with their water.
Yeah.
That's not, it makes good TV, but it's not. People have this ideal in their head still to this day that, well, gosh, if they can do that on TV, then I can too.
Right. Well, they called it a week on the show. They were like, this week and this week. Like, I didn't know that it was more than 1 week in real life. Right. So yeah, I learned that from you. I was like, wow, okay.
Talk about false advertising.
Yeah. And they did it because of the logistics behind the scenes. I mean, if they could have a camera crew there 24/7, they would have done that. But the scheduling and then the needing to have the space for the different challenges and all the logistics just don't align with that.
Right. Well, I wanted to ask you a little bit about gaining your weight back, because although maybe my situation personally wasn't as extreme as yours, I definitely did that. Mine was like up 20, down 20, up 20, down 20. Looking back in hindsight, I think I wrecked my metabolism by just constantly keeping my calories so low in between like binging, but what would you say was the reason for, for gaining your weight back, that way?
With The Biggest Loser, it was because we burned ourselves out. I mean, it was so extreme. How could that not burn your hormones out? And they've actually done studies on after some of the different seasons and proven that the metabolism was destroyed during the process of this extreme weight loss, because it still was full-time job and it still was very good results. And then they have shown that nobody was able to repair their metabolism. I would wage money on, let's go a little bit of meat here and see if we can repair some things.
I was going to ask you if you feel like after eating meat, do you feel like you've repaired your metabolism now?
I think that I still have a lot of healing, but I mean, I don't know. I just get inflamed so quickly. If I eat some eggs, 10 pounds. If I eat some cheese, 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but it's only been, I started January 2023. I'd like to give it a lot more time. I look at people like Kelly Hogan, she's clearly, it looks to me like she's repaired a lot of metabolism because she's eating a decent amount of food every day. She's also actively moving a lot too, but it wouldn't matter how much I moved before. My body just grabbed onto everything and said, I don't trust you.
Absolutely. So I've been watching your channel, your new channel. It's great. I love to follow people's journeys, and you're on Lion Diet. Is that right? Can you tell us a little bit about how you were eating before Lion Diet and then why you decided to do, I don't know what to call it. Is it a Lion Diet challenge, or is it a Lion Diet for a certain amount of time, or what's going on with that?
So every time I travel, I often am traveling with other people that are like us. And then I see them, they're like, yeah, I can have some, I won't even name products, something with stevia in it. And I'm like, well, they can do it. I should be able to do it too. I'll just have a little bit. And then next thing you know, I go home and I'm like, I can still have it in my coffee. I'll quit one day. Next thing you know, I'm like grazing all day on sugar-free Jell-O and chewing gum. I mean, right down. I can't go into the sugar hole. It can't be like some people, and I'm grateful for that in some ways because hypoglycemia will come right back. But the addictive behavior comes back so quickly. And I have that addictive behavior too. Even when it wasn't the sweeteners, it was the pork rinds and butter. When it wasn't the pork rinds and butter, it was the jerky. When it wasn't the jerky, it was another thing. And so it just seems to me like this addictive behavior all the time. Also, I'm still trying to heal. I still have autoimmune stuff going on. And so every other time I eat eggs, I feel really bogged down. When I eat dairy, I get like this 20-week pregnant belly. So I'm still getting inflamed by these foods. So my thought here is I need the inflammation to go down, and I need to get out of this food addiction hell, because it's hell. And so I had mentioned it in our group because I'm part of Dr. Lisa's Carb Sober community. And she's like, perfect, we're doing it. And she announced it.
Great.
Look what you did, Adrian. Look what you did.
I guess we're doing it for real this time. And then I had said I would do it. I turned 40 on March 14th. And so I said, March 15th through Hack Your Health, let's do this thing. In my mind, that was like a month. Now I've looked at 75 days. But here's the thing. Okay, so I never thought, so I meant, I've always known Lion was there, but I was like, you know what? I just don't think that's for me. And I'm okay with that. That just doesn't sound like my thing. So I'm okay with that. Other people can try it. Go for it. It's not my thing. But she said, let's do it. And so I gave it a try. And I was like trying to search videos, and all the videos were like, this is so awful. I can't do this 1 minute longer. This is so awful. So I was thinking, I don't know how long I'm going to last, but I'll try. And it's been wonderful. Like within 3 days, I lost 7 pounds of inflammation. Do you know how good that feels?
Yeah.
That feels amazing. I weighed myself this morning. Another 3 pounds is gone. I don't know what's up with that. It's only been 12 days. I don't know if that's more inflammation, a deeper level of inflammation, or if I'm actually starting to lose some fat. I don't know, but I'm feeling good. And then the best part, I'm full constantly. So that grazing thing that I do all
Okay.
the time, squashed. And then
Great.
it's so wonderful. So the grazing is squashed, the inflammation is down, and I get to be full. And it's so easy too. Like more time is added to my life because I'm not thinking about egg pancakes because I love egg pancakes. You know?
Yeah, I got to
I was-
make those for my kids. So I'm still stuck making the crepes and that kind of stuff for it because he started eating this way with me and he's 15 and metabolically healthy and I'm not going to take those away from him. But it is tempting, but I try not to eat them. I really try to, I'm not lying, but I'm probably BBB&E most of the time, you know? And, but yeah, it's like, I still got to make those for him and smell them and look at them.
I'm still cooking
always so
bacon and eggs and those pancakes for my kids too.
Yeah, see, so you hear me. Yeah, it's hard, but when you're full all the time, I can see how that would make it easier.
And then we're doing it as a group. And then honestly,
Mhm.
I encourage everybody to share because someone will see it and be inspired. Somebody, even if it's just one person, or even if they just one person thinks to themselves, well, that's interesting. And then the seed grows. And so sharing it has been a level of accountability that's really been helpful to hear other people say, wow, you're glowing. I want to do that too. And that healing and that comfort could happen for other people. So that's where I'm at. I definitely do want to stick it out till Hack Your Health, maybe even longer. At this point, if I could add 2 things, it would just be sardines and salmon because those are very sober food for me.
Mm. Okay.
Well, that's fantastic. You know, I think that a lot of us, we kind of stumble our way into carnivore and then we don't realize that there's this big community behind us, that there's so many people in the world that are experiencing the exact same things that we are. So I'm so glad that, you know, you're encouraging others to join a group. Like just even if you don't join a group, like make a YouTube channel or make an Instagram account and just share like, this is my breakfast, this is my lunch, this is my dinner. And then you're going to find people that are going to want to ask you questions and engage with you. And so, oh, that's a great question. Why don't you ask that?
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just going to pop that up. So she said, hack your health. Are you going to hack your health?
Oh, yeah.
Yay.
Are
Me
you guys
too.
going too?
I will be there.
Awesome. I can't wait to see ya. Have you been before?
Same. No, this is my first one. And I'm bringing
I
my
should've
mom
sent you
with me.
pictures
My
ahead of
mom.
time. I met everybody.
Oh,
I met
that's
Sally
so
Norton. I
cool.
met all of the people, and they're all just normal people. And they're like, hey, it's so nice to meet you.
Wow.
That's amazing. You told it.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about Sally Norton. You told me that you had dinner with her. You wanted to share did you learn any wisdom from her? I bet she's just like constantly spewing such amazing advice.
She told me something to the extent of the one food she wouldn't feed kids would be potatoes, sweet potatoes, because of the amount of oxalate. I thought that was interesting. And then on top of it, you know, French fries, we fry them in seed oil. So you got the seed oil and the oxalate. So it's just like it's like a toxic food that we all feed our kids.
Oh man, yeah.
Maybe you guys don't. I try not to, but I didn't know about this until a year ago. So we're working on it, and we're working on like, how does that make you feel?
I mean, it's so crazy because you get into keto and you get into Dr. Berry and you start learning. And now after, you know, however many months, yes, then you learn about the oxalates, right? So it's this whole learning curve. The oxalates were definitely not the first thing I knew about, heard about, you know, learned about. But yeah, it's a lot to take in.
Yes. So before carnivore, I looked up a list of foods you're not supposed to eat when you have adrenal issues. And then I looked up a list of when you have autoimmune adrenals. And then I looked up another one, autoimmune thyroid. And when you mix them together, there's like no plants left. So that was my first indicator of, well, what am I supposed to eat then?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's so
And that's
hard.
when my dad was like, meat.
I know, right? The thing that we would never touch. It's like, no, I can't eat meat. And yet it's yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, I don't know about you guys, but like the first week of meat at that weekend after, because I started on a Monday, I think. And the first weekend afterwards, I was like, I'd rather not eat than ever eat meat again. But I just waited it out. And then now I crave meat.
Yeah, the fat adaptation phase, I think, is like, it's really hard. Like, I think that first month is because I'm planning on making a video about it, but it's like you kind of have to say goodbye to your old life. Your old life kind of dies, and then you're going through, it's almost like you're going through puberty again. I feel like, because like I smelled bad. I had, diarrhea. And then at the end of the month, there was like all of those symptoms were gone, and I just felt it like so much better. Mental clarity, had less inflammation, more energy. And then you just kind of like, you start to, like you were saying, you start to glow and you get excited, and then you're like, oh, what kind of meals can I have? And then you stop thinking about food. Like, do you feel like you've stopped thinking about food? Because I know you were struggling with some addiction and some moderation issues. How's that peace
In
of
the
mind
very
now?
beginning, I had this food freedom euphoria. In the very beginning. And so when I quit drinking, I was thinking to myself, I wish I could find this with food, but we have to eat. So I guess I'm just stuck with this addiction, you know? And when I started eating the meat, because, when you first start, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I did it very, very clean. And like I wasn't adding any spices or any mustard or any pickles or anything. It was just meat and salt and water. I wasn't doing any sparkling water for a long time. Yeah, so I had that food freedom in the beginning. Then I took my first trip. It was Hack Your Health, and Hack Your Health had, it was KetoCon back then. They had some keto-y things, and I saw some people eating them, and I was like, I'm just gonna take a little bite of this. Next thing you know, then what I did was I joined a group to get support to stop that. And I stopped it for a while. And then I went on another trip with some keto carnivore people, and I saw them trying one of the products. And I was like, I'll just have a little piece. And so my challenge here, telling you girls and telling all your audience, is don't do it at Hack Your Health, Adrian. Don't do it. Peterson's, we can all go to Peterson's and enjoy ourselves, but do not go to the keto stands, Adrian. Do not do it.
Okay, talk to me. What's Peterson's? I've never been to Austin, Texas or anything. So is that
I don't know.
barbecue?
I'm pretty sure the Petersons are going to be there again this year. They sell meat, they sell sausage and bacon, and they cook it nonstop. And they don't even care.
Okay.
You can just shamelessly walk by their stand all day long and just eat all the bacon and sausage. Like I need to put an order in.
I'll be doing that. I'll be
for
doing
all
that.
the samples I ate. So when you walk into Hack Your Health, the first thing you smell is bacon. It's perfect.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward. Will you guys do the cold plunge?
I'm going to do the DEXA scan.
Me too. But they have a cold plunge tub that circulates so it stays that really, really, really cold temperature.
I swore I would never do a cold plunge, Adrian. Do not rope me into this.
That's the only one I've ever done in life. I live in Minnesota. I think cold plunging is ridiculous because you can do that here. Just go outside. But
right.
But it was pretty euphoric.
I will say, so I live in Southern California, but we're inland, right? So it will get like below 32 degrees. So I go out in the mornings and I sprint with just like a tank top or a sports bra. And like, yeah, so I'm like, I feel like that is close enough. And that's as close as I'm going to get.
Yeah, I think it's just about engaging your system. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm like, maybe I'm getting it. Maybe I'm not. I don't know, but I don't think I'm going in that water. We had a couple questions here. So this is Sandra, One Hope for All is Sandra. She's asking, Adrian, have you tried just the egg yolks? I think she means like when eating the eggs. Have you tried that?
I did. And actually, before I went carnivore, fun fact, I had a quail farm with 600 quail and I had 20 rabbits. And so I was eating the quail eggs, and even the quail eggs were bothering me. And those have properties in them that are anti-inflammatory, but even those bothered me. Yeah. And I even bought pasture-raised eggs, and even the pasture-raised egg yolks bother me. I'm just when you're chronically inflamed, you're just the most sensitive. So I do believe in healing though. I 100%, I don't know if it's lion that's going to heal me or all the other work or just the time of not eating all that other stuff. I believe in healing, and I believe one day I'm going to be able to eat those eggs again. I love them.
Yeah. Yeah. They're so good. I hope so.
It's a staple food. It's always been a staple throughout the whole time. So I can't imagine my life without eggs.
Yeah. And then Bruce is asking, just curious, Adrian, do you consider it food addiction or carb addiction? I've been hearing a lot of people talk about the distinction between those things lately.
I think it's just Lisa calls it not sober behavior. It's just not, because I get addicted to pork rinds. But the addiction to the processed foods and the carbs is so much stronger. So strong. But I feel like I can have non-sober behavior with a lot of foods. The only food I don't have non-sober behavior is hamburger. Because I mean, who would sit and snack on hamburger? Even if you salted it to the end, how? No.
Right. Okay, Ellie, I have to do this. Simpson got her first picanha. Picanha is my favorite, Adrian. So Simpson got her first picanha, and she's saying, how do you cook your picanha? So I'm sorry for everyone who's heard me say it, but I'm going to say it again for Simpson. So what I do is sometimes I use butter and sometimes not, but I always use the Redmond smoked salt, the hickory salt. And I don't measure. So I just pour that on and kind of rub it all over. And then if I'm going to use butter, I just soften it and kind of rub that all over as well. I mean, like copious amounts, like it looks yellow. Okay. If I do the butter, but I don't always do that anymore. And then I put it in like a Pyrex dish and I put it in the oven at 500 degrees and it's 5 minutes per pound. So if it's like 2 pounds picanha, then it's 10 minutes at 500 degrees. Then you turn that oven off and you don't open the door. You just let it ride and it sits in there. I'm finding between an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes is like the sweet spot, but you kind of have to practice in your oven. And also depending on how you like it. Like I'm liking my meat more toward rare these days. So what happens is the 500-degree blast gives like this crust all around the outside, which is delicious. And then the inside is like consistently just pink, whether it's rare or mid-rare, it's just consistent all the way through. So, and it's easy. It just takes a little time, but it is easy. So I make one like every weekend. I'll make it like on Saturday. And then it used to last me for like 3 days if it was like, 2.5, 3 pounds of picanha, but now my son eats it too. So yeah, I don't always get a lot, but I make one every Saturday. It's delicious. So give that a try, Simpson, or anyone else who's interested. Picanha is delicious and it's not expensive. So even not on sale, it's like $8.74 a pound. Just regular price all the time, So for me, I can afford that if the ribeyes don't go on sale. Thank you for starting that one, Ellie. So Nia wants to know, how is your sleep? Have you ever had trouble sleeping on this way of eating? I'm autoimmune too and find that sleep is so important.
Is that for me?
I think that's for you, Miss Adrian. Yes.
Such a tough question because I go through different periods. Like I recently switched from Fitbit to Apple, and it's been telling me that I get amazing sleep lately. So that's just glorious. I've just been out like a log lately. But then I don't know if it goes with my cycle or what. There will be times in the cycle where I wake up to pee at 2 a.m. So I'm not fully healed from that yet. But my sleep is 100 times better than before Carnivore, because I didn't know too about magnesium oil spray and I wasn't taking salt baths. Those help me sometimes when I'm really struggling. I didn't know about those things. And then I didn't know that it's a hormone issue if you're waking up and peeing. So it's 100 times better. No more restless legs.
That's great. Thanks for sharing. I think that I've noticed, I just wanted to say real quick, I noticed that when I am like really stressed, I think it's linked to stress for me personally. Like if I'm really stressed out, I'll find that I'll have like those like racing thoughts and I'll wake up in the middle of the night. But I think that if we can just try to keep like a clear head and try to stay calm, and if you need to exercise to get some of that stress out, I think that would be great too. And definitely like Epsom salt baths, supplementing with magnesium, like you said, I think that's really helpful. That helped my kids when they were having restless legs and stuff like that. Doing electrolytes and stuff like that was really helpful.
Yeah, I had a baby recently. He had gotten a bug and he had the runs for a while and he was having restless legs so bad because we still sleep with him. And if
I do too.
If you spray some magnesium oil on their feet, out they go.
Wow, that's
I need
advice.
to get some.
Okay, so Clarabelle is asking, she says, I've been carnivore for 11 and a half months. I'm pregnant with my third, but it's my first carnivore pregnancy. What would you advise on what to do when aversions do kick in? Because they have, LOL. So I don't know if either of you ladies have advice. I can only point you to the other people in the space that I know. So like Sana, Mrs. Perfectly Imperfect Keto, she was carnivore. Now that she's pregnant, she's doing a little more keto. Same thing. I think it's the carnivore couple. Caitlin from the carnivore couple is also pregnant with twins. And same thing. She was carnivore, but now she's kind of gone more keto because for, I think, different reasons for both of them. But with Caitlin, it's, I think, because she was having like a lot of meat aversions. And so she's just giving herself grace, keeping it keto, you know, and eating whatever meat that she can do. And I think same with Sana, but they both have channels, which is why I bring them up, because I don't have that experience. And so I don't have much advice for you, but I don't know if Ellie or Adrian may.
No, just it kind of makes me want to get pregnant so I can try.
The only experience I know, right? It's like I get the baby fever too. But I started watching my friend's baby, so now I'm like, okay, I have him. I feel good. But so when I first started doing keto, that's how I got pregnant in the first place. And I remember that like first month and having a lot of meat aversions. And I was like, if I have to look at another chicken thigh and goat cheese again, I'm going to throw it across the room. You know, it was just like, I couldn't do it. And I think that, like Cristie was saying, just give yourself some grace. Unfortunately, my doctor did not, and find a support system, because unfortunately my doctor told me to stop doing keto because I would harm my baby. And so that kind of, you know, took away any momentum, and all the information that I had learned about being healthier and all the progress that I had made just was like thrown out the window. So I think just take it day by day and eat what you can, and know that you're doing the best you can for your child. And that's really powerful to know that they don't have to grow up to be sick.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
When you get through your aversions, get right back. One of the tickers that was like, I mostly was eating vegetables and a little bit of meat. And one of my mind changes was working with the midwife. She said, no, Adrian, because I said, I have a history of preeclampsia. I have a history of loss. I have a history of anemia. What should we do? And she's like, I need you to eat more salt. And I need you to eat all the red meat you can, and all the butter you can, and all the eggs you can. She was like, eat a dozen a day. So she was one of the first people that was like, what? And she said it makes good blood.
Wow. Okay.
And there's a thing out there. I think it was put out by the fruit doctor. You know,
Dr. Saladino.
He put one out, a little tiny snippet docuseries showing the placenta of a woman who ate red meat and a placenta of, I don't know if it was a vegan or just a normal standard person, but they had wildly different color.
Wow.
Yes. One was like very deep and red and like almost like vibrant with life. Beautiful, honestly. And then the other, I think it was like a vegan person, and it just was like gray.
Calcified.
Like, yeah, yeah, exactly. That was
wow. I didn't see. Now I'm gonna have to go look for that. Now I'm curious.
It's so speaks volumes.
Yeah. Adrian, I have another question for you. So you had the gastric bypass surgery, and I know that shrinks a person's stomach like way down. So how is that for you eating? I know a lot of carnivores do like OMAD or 2MAD or even 3, but are you able to do that? Or do you feel better like eating more smaller meals throughout the day just because your stomach size has been reduced? Or how does that work for you?
OMAD will never be a thing for me, but that's okay because I think most of us lack the stomach acid to do that. But that's just my opinion. Maybe that's a female thing too. That might be different for a man. I could totally see a man, you know, eating a whole Hawkeye or tomahawk. You can eat a whole tomahawk? That's awesome. Okay, I cannot. But I can say when I first started this, and I was 10 years past my surgery, I was struggling with eggs and ground beef. I was struggling with meat, which is why I also ate more plants, because meat hurt my stomach. So I was like, how on earth am I going to switch to only eating meat? I can barely eat it, and I'm keeled over on my side. And the stomach fluids just got better. I mean, today I ate 9 ounces of picanha. I cooked it for the first time yesterday.
Yay! Put it up, Ellie. We have a picanha banner because picanha. Yes.
It was so good. And what I did was
See?
slice
So
it
good. Okay.
and then air fry it. I
Oh,
sliced
okay.
it and air fried it. It was amazing. So I had 9 ounces. I mean, and when I began, anything over 2 was really tough. So your stomach acid and your stomach juices grow as you keep eating the meat.
That's fantastic. And I know people slice the picanha, but it's like the way I make it is so good. I'm scared to do it because I'm like, but why would I change? But why would I change?
Now that I found where I get it, there's one Walmart that has it and the other one doesn't. So I'm going to go to the one that does. And
Yeah,
now I'll try yours. Absolutely. That sounds amazing.
Give it a shot. It's super good. And like I said, you can just do the salt because I know you're lying. Like to me, it's like just as good, I think. I'm like,
And I'll rub it in tallow instead of butter.
Yeah, you could rub it in tallow. There you go. You could do that. Absolutely. So now I lost it because here we go. So Gail is wanting to know, have you taken the VCS test to see if you might have SIRS? I think you mentioned SIRS. You mentioned chronic inflammatory response syndrome. Have you taken that test?
Yes. And I also did my testing through Judy Cho and I had the whole gamut. And then the thing is, anybody out there who's struggling with this, my family didn't believe me, especially my husband. And that was really, really hard on our marriage for me to tell you, we have to leave this house because I can't drive. We have to leave this house because I'm having terror. The minute I left the house, the terror was gone. It absolutely was. The water damage, and we didn't even have that much water damage. And so it's taken time for my husband to get, it's overwhelming to say we have to move, we have to renovate this house. So we have to pay for 2 different livings and renovate, and all my medical bills are out of pocket too. So just this Friday, I'm going to go get a neuroquant for the first time to see what's going on up here. And then getting some more blood tests on Monday. So yeah, lots of testing. I definitely have it.
Okay, sorry, I was responding to a question about the picanha and where to find it in Walmart.
You can also find it at Costco.
Say that again, Adrian.
Not all the Walmarts have it.
Not all Walmarts have it. They have it at one Walmart in my area. The other one does not, just like Adrian said. And then my mom went to 3 Walmarts. She's like 1 county south of me. She went to 3 Walmarts and none of them had it. So it's kind of like, it's iffy, but you might be able to search online, to see like what they have in stock, put in a particular zip code and see that way before you drive all the way over there. Oh, no worries, Bruce. I'm always distracted. It's fine.
I was just going to say that I get it from Costco. So if you have a Costco membership,
really?
There, yeah,
I'll go check that out.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have to look there. I know Anita, ketogenic woman, said that she gets her, but I know she's Canada, but like she said, she gets hers from Costco sometimes too. Although sometimes they trim all the fat off, and I'm like, well, that's the best part, and so that's not even picanha
not
anymore.
mine.
So good, and I was so shocked how good the meat tastes. The meat has so much flavor.
Yes, it's really good. Well, speaking of meat, we're gonna spin a meaty wheel. And so we have a wheel to spin, and I'm gonna share that with you. And Adrian, I hope you're ready for the question.
I don't know if my brain fog can handle this, but I'll try.
You'll be fine.
All right, here is our Lioness Lifestyle Live meaty wheel, and we're gonna hunt down a meaty question for Adrian. We hunted down a meaty question for you. What is the one benefit from eating a meat-based diet that you would not want to part with?
What is the one benefit I would not want to part with? Being full. Final answer.
Win.
Because without being full, you're just in,
fight or flight mode constantly.
I'm just constantly hunting to get that fix,
Yeah. And I know both of us have had a history of like having calories so low, and I don't know how you felt, but I felt hungry all the time. And I would just deal with it because I'm getting skinny. By golly, I'm getting skinny. So it's okay that I'm hungry and kind of dizzy all the time. So it's a blessing to be full. I hear
I have
that.
family members who are doing the standard American dieting because they're like just not okay with this meat thing. And they said, I'm totally full. And I'm like, you told yourself that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's false. It's not true. You know, but I would love to share your channel because I know you just started your YouTube channel and you've been
It's
sharing
real
about
cringy.
the
I
lion
can't wait to
diet.
learn and be great like you girls.
Oh no, you're doing fantastic. And like if anything like you've told your story today is anywhere in your channel, like I know that everyone's gonna come flocking to it. And you're also so you're sharing your Lion Day journey. And if you have any like interviews or you were just recently with Dr. Wiederman, which is awesome, and with us, so you can always go to her live tab. See right there, you can check us out. And I also want to share your Instagram.
That's where I really have fun because that's easy and fun. And I don't even look if anybody's even watching. It might be 2 people, but that's okay because then I can just be me. So you just never know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, that's like I really have been enjoying your both channels, but especially your Instagram because I just find it very inspiring. And so I encourage everyone to follow and subscribe to Adrian. I'll put some links in the chat.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I am more of a YouTube person. I think it's like awesome and also funny that you say Instagram is easy and fun because I'm like, Instagram is confusing and difficult for me.
I just take my phone and I go, hey, what's up, people? You know, where YouTube,
awesome.
you got to clip things together and make a thumbnail and turn the wrong direction. It's the wrong direction, in my opinion.
Yeah. I hear that. You're getting some new subs right now. So here we go. Thanks, ladies. This was great. Thanks, Adrian, for sharing your story. I subbed. That's Nia at Nia's Way. She's fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome. I watch her too.
Yeah, Nia's awesome. We love her.
She's my best friend.
She's Ellie's BFF. Yes.
So you definitely want to. She's going to Hack Your Health also. So you two ladies should go meet up with her and have a great time. I wish I could come, but so many blessings to you guys when you go.
Yeah, I feel like, am I even going to get to see any speakers because I just want to talk to all my like online people like in real life.
Just buy the virtual path. You can watch them later, just like YouTube, you know?
Yeah, that's
because there's a lot going on the floor. That's where all the people are. You can just find like literally anybody, you know, Judy Cho walking around the floor. You know, it's awesome.
That's so cool.
I meet Mafia guys.
What's gonna be funny is my mom is going, but my mom doesn't watch any of these people. So she's gonna be like, wait, who? Wait, what? Like she's just going to be with me. And you know, she is meat-based keto, but she didn't learn it from the internet like I did. She learned it from me kind of relaying the information to her. You know, so she's just excited to go to Texas and eat. Yeah, and she won't be excited at all or impressed at all because she won't know who they are.
Just have her take her pictures.
And they were like, oh my gosh, there's Joe and Rachel. And I was like, who? Joe and Rachel? And so and they were so nice. They were like, come take a picture with us. And so I did. And then later I went home and I was like, who's Joe and Rachel? And now they're like some of my favorite people.
You went on their cruise, right? We'll have to talk about that next time.
Too.
Yeah. Yes. So Ellie, I think we're ready to roar our way out of here.
Yeah, everyone, please get your roars down in the chat. I'm going to count down and we're going to roar ourselves out of here. So 3, 2, 1. Roar!
So much fun. I thought I was going to hate it, and I love it.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks. I want to see thank you, Karen, she got a roar here. Roar! These are great. They're coming.
There's Eric. I knew he wouldn't let me down.
Yes. Thank you so much, everybody.
I love all the roars.
Fantastic. We hear you all the way from where we are now, and
California for me.
Hey, Eric.
Wisconsin, Minnesota, Wisconsin.
Okay. And Ellie's in Florida, so all the way across both coasts and the middle. That's cool.
You get it all.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We are just so happy to have you every single week, and you can join us again next Tuesday at the same time, and we'll have another awesome guest. And Adrian, we hope you'll come back.
Bye everybody.